NerdandSon.
Hey, welcome back to the NerdandSon podcast. I am Nerd. I am Ralph.
I'm Son. I'm Connor. And you have the World Tree. You have the Tree of Life. And below, in the description, you have the Tree of Links that you can click on and tell us if you have any questions, comments, see our stuff on links, because it's a tree of links.
Awesome. Now we're going to get a bunch of Zelda questions. You do know that, right?
That's okay.
We'll take the Zelda questions.
We'll take the Zelda questions.
Okay.
I'm not worried about anything that has to do with links in my house, because I don't have a single pot. So he can't hurt me.
You can't be hurt.
I cannot be hurt.
No, not physically. All right. Well, we're trying to get back into the thick of things, because honestly, we haven't recorded for almost a month and a half. 7 weeks?
We have not recorded since just before we initially launched the show.
So that was 6 weeks ago? 5 weeks ago?
That was... No. Maybe.
I don't remember.
6, 7? I don't know.
Our 8th episode comes out tomorrow. So yeah, 5 weeks.
Math is involved. Yeah.
And we're talking about a game that involves no math whatsoever.
No math at all.
Yes, we don't need any math. M-A-F.
No maths.
No maths.
2 plus 2 is 4, minus 1, that's 3. Quick maths.
Okay. Okay. But today, we actually wanted to talk about, with our campaigns and everything else that we've been doing before, is we wanted to talk about where to start a campaign, how to start a campaign, and what kind of session prep you actually want to actually start a campaign. So, got a couple ideas here in our notes that we actually have, and I guess the biggest thing is when I was writing these, I was going, okay, what kind of games are there, and what are you wanting to run? What are your players wanting to run? Or anything like that. And that could be a campaign, one shot, or something to build on.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. And depending on whichever one that you're going to do, requires the amount of work you have to do. You know, if you're doing a campaign, you know, if you are, again, building, right, you have a little bit more work up front, but that's going to pay off later when you're creating sessions for this campaign where you're just building off of what's already happened. Mm-hmm. But it is more of an initial investment up front.
Yes, just a little bit, and I'll go over, especially with a campaign and the multiple campaigns that I actually ran, which they spanned a couple years, and then we moved off to another campaign with the same group and everything. But when I started that, I just had a rough general idea. Just a quick flowchart of how I wanted the campaign to go. It wasn't set in stone, this is what I wanted to do, but it was something that I wanted to build on. So I kind of wrote out just a quick little outline. And that took a little bit more time to do. Well, I mean, honestly, is it more time? I'm going to change my mind here on what I'm talking about here. I think writing out a quick outline when you're going to start a full-blown campaign is actually less work than doing a one-shot. And let me explain why. Because if you're going to do a one-shot, and most of the one-shots I did were old campaign modules that we wanted to play that we haven't played in decades or years, or some old classic stuff, B1, B2, A1, A2, A3 for the Giants. That actually seemed to take longer for prep because I had to read through the campaign, know what was going on, convert anything I wanted to out of that old edition, the AD&D edition, up to third shift 3.5 or 4 that we were running at the time. So in essence, now that I'm talking about it, I think the one shot actually took more time. At least for me,
because you were converting from another system to do
right.
And that makes sense that would take a little more work. But if you take something in a pre-written one shot, or if you just start with a concept, you could just be the orc in the pie as a one shot, and that kind of spins off. Essentially the thing about this, and I'm just going to tell you the secret straight up, and then you can click off, and then you don't have to.
Secrets.
The secret sauce is there is no right way. It's whatever, as much or as little work as you require is how much you need, because some people can walk in with absolutely zero prep, and they just spin this up out of their head, and they just but other people need a big flowchart of, well, this is how we're going to start, and if the players do this, we're going to go this way, and if the players do this, and you create branch plans based on that, and have an outline for any little thing that could happen. And those are both equally viable ways that make everything work, but it's ultimately up to you and what works for you, and the only way to know that is by doing it,
right?
Getting things wrong, and that's really it. And
it takes time.
There's the thesis. There's the thesis. You don't need the rest of this. Goodbye. I'm Son. That's Nerd. See you next episode.
So what you're saying is there's not actual real secret? Oh, fine. I'm unsubscribing.
I'm gonna unsubscribe to my own.
But no, it's there's tons of different ways to go, and exactly what you said. There's not a wrong way of doing it. You got to actually do what is comfortable for you. Because if you're going to do something that's not comfortable, or not something you agree with, or you try to make it, or it becomes harder than what it needs to be, and then it's not as fun, and you don't want to do it, and then that actually lowers the overall quality of the product that you're trying to produce.
Yep, absolutely. Because then your hobby becomes work.
Right. Okay. But since we're talking about campaign, one shot, everything like that, where do you plan on actually getting the ideas?
Stealing them.
Yes.
That's
the biggest thing. I have done that I don't know how many different times, where I take thoughts and ideas, and then I completely change it up and make it my own. Okay?
You can do that. You can completely change it up and make it your own, or, hear me out, you just steal it. Whole cloth. Who cares?
I don't condone stealing.
I do. I think you should. Right? I'm about to play a one shot with a Starfinder one shot with my friends, and I'm just stealing Starship Troopers.
Hey, you're actually borrowing and using those ideas as your own. So, hey, you can steal/borrow, depending on your terminology, as long as you don't do copyright infringement.
Am I making this game for profit? Then it doesn't matter.
No, it doesn't. If you're just having it for yourself, your own fun, your own personal thing, yeah, use anything that's around you. Any ideas and stuff. You can do your thing from your Starship Troopers, or like in a couple episodes back, we talked about the 3 Beholders as like a scenario. And I actually took that as an idea from Clash of the Titans, the old, when did that movie come out? 83? 82? Something like that. But basically, the 3 hags that were sharing the glass eye. So, yeah, steal stuff.
Oh yeah, you mean the fates from Hercules in 1990 whatever,
Oh, those two, yeah. Same concept.
or the fates from Clash of the Titans in 2008 or whatever.
I actually never saw that one.
I didn't either. I just know it's bad.
Well, what do you mean by bad? We like bad stuff. Bad could be good.
No, not that kind of bad.
Uh-huh.
Off topic, speaking of bad movies, I think we should watch Rebel Moon.
I have heard different things. That would be interesting. So yes, we can sit down
bad.
and try to do that together with you.
I have watched it. Here's my official review of Rebel Moon.
Okay.
It's bad. It's bad. It's got bad CGI, bad acting, bad pacing. It's just bad all around. The only thing that keeps it together is the artistic vibes.
Okay.
That's it. That's the only thing. You're just watching this space opera that's doing Star Wars and Warhammer 40K, and just again, like I just said, stealing the ideas. It's not even it's not even you're not even trying. You're just stealing things. You're stealing names. You're stealing costumes. You're everything. But the vibes are on.
Okay. That's interesting.
So,
which that will go to one of the things where you can get ideas.
Steal from popular culture.
Exactly. So
exactly.
One of the other ideas, since we're on the steal idea, I like borrow in quotation marks.
Okay. I'm a little more radical here.
Well, that's the other thing too. Is you got a group of players, let them decide what they want to do. Make a game around what they want. If they pitch you ideas, and you make something around that, then you're going to get a lot more player buy-in on your game.
Absolutely. Here's the thing, right? Sometimes, let's say you have a puzzle, right? And your players are trying to guess the answer, and they come up with a better guess than what the actual solution is.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, guess what? That was the answer. Good job.
Yep.
Or, sometimes after a session, let's say they just met the big bad, and they go oh, I bet that he's actually the father of this princess that we're trying to save. Boom! There you go. There's the story now. That's a great idea. Your players will think, that was the story all along, and think that they had that moment where they figured out the story, and they had that great moment when it was them. It was them that gave you the story.
Oh, Connor.
So don't just steal from popular culture. What's up?
I am your father. No, that's just a story.
I'm adopted.
Oh hell. Okay.
But no, so steal from your players.
Yep.
Steal from popular culture. Mm-hmm. Just steal it.
So what do you do if you can't come up with any ideas, or your mind is absolutely blank?
I'm not gonna lie to you. For me, campaign prep is all about asking the players what they want, right? And I will get backstories, and I will ask the players. How I like running games is I will communicate with every single player individually, right? And I will talk about where they want their story to go. And so everybody really knows the idea of where their story goes, and I can add little things to spice it up, or add things from their backstory, little twists and turns that they don't see coming, but generally they know where their character is going, and they know the direction that it is headed. The other players do not, right? So the rest of the players are seeing this character arc unfold, and me and the player can conspire for twists and turns and like narrative things to happen. And I'm doing that with all the players so that everything comes together, and there are side plots and everything going on with everybody else, so that it creates more drama and stuff like that. That's how I like to run it.
I think you communicate a little bit more than what I did with my players, because I would like to have a background of what they actually were doing. And they give me an ideas of what they want to see, but I don't actually discuss those with them. Yep. I want to incorporate their backgrounds and everything like that, and then because some players want to grow a certain way, they don't want some of the information shared. There's a whole range in that, but I figure if I can go and then incorporate what they're wanting into the game without, I don't know, just going, hey, we're going to do this today in the game. It's going to be about your background or what you want to do. I don't really want to do that. I want them to be like, oh, this is exactly what I wanted. More of a surprise as the game is actually coming out and developing and flowing. So a little bit different, but very similar on that.
So this came from when I was playing in my partner's campaign, and they were going through, and they literally had the Charlie from Always Sunny board.
Yes, with the strings and the strings. Yeah,
it was great. But I was there the whole time. I was a co-conspirator in this campaign, and so they rubber ducked ideas off of me, and I was there the whole time, and I bounced ideas and I gave ideas, and so that was a lot of fun for me. That was a whole nother like aspect of this game outside of the game that I enjoyed the hell out of, and so I wanted to and so I have brought that on in all my subsequent games, and that's part of the enjoyment for me, is this co-conspirator figuring out the story and like collaboratively coming together. So yeah, that's good, and that just comes from you trying to put games together, experience and everything like that. A lot of my stuff, it comes from experience and everything. But one thing, especially if you got like a new person wanting to run a game for the first time, or it's just the first game they're running and they want to do a campaign and everything like that, one of the other ideas that you can get is generators. There is tons of campaign generators, idea generators, session generators. Go through it, click on those things a couple times, let this generate, and at that time, find something that goes, ooh, I think that would be cool, and use it. Because I use generators. I don't actually like roll on the table, but I will look through the table and see all the different lists of what it is, and I'll just be like, oh, that sounds good. I'm going to steal that.
Yeah. So that just works just as well. I mean, there's tons of different ideas out there. And I mean, growing up, I was a big fantasy reader. I still read a lot. Well, I take that back. I don't read. I don't have time to sit and read, but I go through at least one audio book every 2 weeks, constantly.
That's still reading.
Well, not physically reading, but audio.
It's still reading.
So I'm constantly doing that.
Keep reading.
I read every Dragon magazine, every Dungeon magazine that I had out there, all the fantasy ideas. I like the stupid fantasy movies growing up, just the different ideas, scenes, everything like that. And those were constantly going through my head. And that's what I drew from all the time. So, yeah. It's all good. But yeah, feel free. Use a generator. Come up with something that just sounds good. Just go, ooh, I think this is cool. And then if you find it interesting to try to make a game about, you're more interested in doing it, and you're more likely to come up with something really nice instead of forcing yourself to do something, so which is good. So now, where to start? In the notes here in the next section, I actually came up with a bunch of different ideas of how to actually start things. And like, for example, if you wanted to start a campaign, it could be a one shot, it could be a campaign, it could be different things. How are you going to get your people together? Are they going to go, hey, look, we're already a party. We've already formed. No, you got to have something interesting that kind of brings them together. At least that's the way I have it in my head. What is your thought on that?
I agree. But there's a little bit. We can get into it as we continue here. With each of these different things that you have as ideas.
Okay, for the first sample is where to start. Okay, let's start in a city. Could be mid to large size city. Mm-hmm. Okay, all you have to do is, for that thing, talk to the players. You can do it individually, send them a text, whatever. Okay, we're going to start in a city. What would be the reason that you would go to X city? Let them give you a reason, okay? And with that, when they're entering the city, as you're describing the scene and everything for them, you can actually put the other players into those scenes, and then you can have them meet and interact and everything that way, okay? You can actually do that same thing in a small village, okay? And they could be just traveling in a small village for one reason or another or anything like that, and then something happens that causes a commotion. A farmer's wife comes running in, help me, something like that. And your heroes and stuff are going to go, hey, we can help, what's going on? And that kind of brings them together in the thing. Same thing in a city. Say you're in the city and all of a sudden you're walking around and one's going to the magic shop, another one is looking at the farmer's market or whatever, and then off in the distance, like a block away, a building explodes. Everybody is running and screaming away. What's your characters going to do? Are they just going to run and scream and not do anything, or are they going to go to where that is? They're going to go to where that is. You can start something that way, okay? You can do the famous thing. I mean, what's your thought on those two things?
That's good. You could have them all in the square, and you could have them all in the square, and maybe one of the characters, or they all see a small urchin child pickpocketing. Mm-hmm. Maybe it pickpockets one of them. There's so much you can
right there. But then it's whatever the scenario is, then you have a commotion or something happens that's the catalyst to actually start and bring them together. Okay, same thing. Even if you do the classic, everybody meets at the inn, everybody's stopping there overnight for some reason, then you have something happen at the inn. It could be a couple of different things. Could be a fight. Could be an ambush. It could be, like you're saying, somebody pickpocketing you. You can actually start out something fun where they're all...
It's classic.
Well, especially if you have one of the players being like a bard, you can have start off almost like a karaoke where he's going around to the other players and having to sing a song. Something like that. Toasting. Heidi, 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 ho. I don't remember what that is from. Whose line is it anyway? But yeah, you can do something like that. Same thing. I mean, inns are great places. Inns, to me, are very cliche, so I try to avoid those.
There's nothing wrong with cliches.
There is nothing wrong with cliches, but I try to be a little bit different. But everybody eventually likes an inn because it's a comfort place. It could be a home base, it could be something else like that. But just starting at an inn, and that's the only place, as it's very standard, I don't care for that as much. But the inns being such a cliche, there is so many tavern and inn generators out there that gives you tons of ideas. Mm-hmm. Okay, like give you an example. I'll click on this one. This one is herebetaverns.com. Okay, and you got different taverns. I'm just gonna roll. Here you go. Here is a tavern. It is a 3-story tavern. Interesting. It's called the Lovable Scribe, and this is just random here. One open window of this tavern is shattered. Menu, they have pretzels but tiny, sweet bars of chocolate, and an ostrich omelet. Characters, they have Lola Jordan, Tiefling lead servant, Sophie Mavor, half-elf notary that's in the bar, and yeah, I can't even pronounce that, as a human cardinal. So apparently you got somebody for the priesthood needing a drink. But this one also gives you, besides the actual layout and floor plans of the inn, it gives you rumors. And this would be a nice thing to start off a campaign. A stranger came to town in the middle of the night. Okay, that's a rumor. The local constable is a vampire. That's another rumor. It hasn't stopped raining in weeks because someone angered the gods. That's another rumor. So that gives you automatically campaign ideas. Okay, the stranger comes in the middle of the night. Why is everybody so worried about the stranger? Maybe stuff is happening in the town or village where the inn is located. Or the local constable's a vampire. Is it true? What is happening to the villagers? Are the young maidens getting bitten and disappearing? Okay. And the other one is it hasn't stopped raining in weeks because someone angered the gods. Okay. Well, you got townsfolk, which are... What was that? Sorry, I heard a noise. You got townsfolk...
A ghost.
A ghost. That are... just very sensitive to the rain and everything else about them, and they want you to find out reasons why it's not raining. It could just be the weather, or you could have storm giants up in the mountains. I don't know. There you go.
Or your player could have a guess that ends up being right because you steal it from them.
It could be, see? But that was a quick generator, and we just came up with a bunch of different game ideas that can actually start a campaign, or it could be just a one-shot. And that's just a quick thing. Another thing here, like for example, there is called the Copper Sanctum Guild, or coppersanctum.github.io. Okay, and got Dirge's Traveler Generator, and you can generate taverns, travelers, and adventures. I'm going to click on adventures here. I've not done this. Okay. Here's an adventure called Love Bites. I'm reading these live. This is great. A Valentine's Day inspired adventure designed to work well as an introduction to Dungeons & Dragons game. Guidance is included. Oh, never mind. I'm reading the actual lead into it. I'd have to click into it, but oh well. But this here gives you different adventures you can run. Travelers. We'll click on Travelers here. A curvy female halfling. She is a weathered woman with her white hair worn in a slick back style. Slick back style. She is wearing clean clothes that are orange in color. Okay, so that gives you an idea. We can try this again. An obese, erogenous human. It actually says erogenous. Interesting. They are an older person with their blue hair worn at a shoulder-length style. They are wearing clean clothes that are blue in color. So this kind of gives you quick NPCs that you can use. I don't know. Ideas. And then this one also has taverns where you can pick out...
More taverns!
Yes. You can pick out the type of neighborhood it is, the owner race, bartender race, atmosphere, and menu selection. So let's do this right here live, okay? Neighborhood, do you want lower, middle, upper, or random?
Do middle.
Okay. Owner race, common, uncommon, exotic, distrusted, or random?
Random.
Random. Bartender race, common, uncommon, random.
Wait, I thought that was for the...
No, that was owner race, and then you have bartender race.
Random.
Okay.
Random.
Atmosphere, subdued, average, raunchous, or random?
Random.
Okay.
Random at all.
Menu selection, sparse, moderate, excessive, or random?
Random.
Okay. Let's visit the tavern. Okay.
Random.
This tavern right here. We just did this. Quick generation. It's called the Raging Cup. The Raging Cup is owned by a married man and his wife. One of the two owners is a member of a race that is common for this area, so say human, while the other owner's race is exotic to the area, say elven. One of the owners has a hidden secret or unusual quirks, but the other is secretly a vampire who feeds on the patrons of the inn during the night. Before owning the tavern, one of the owners worked there under the previous owner, while the other gambled compulsively and won a deed to the tavern in a bet. The Inspiration for the tavern's name was a story from the owner's past. It is a tavern of comfortable quality, and its main draw is its cheap food. Okay. There we go. See, I mean, this is all random stuff. The bartender. One of the owners of the Raging Cup tends to the bar as he enjoys doing the job himself. His disposition is generally described as devious. He is very attractive with coppery skin and dark brown hair in a slicked back style. Physically, he is immensely obese. Okay. The clientele.
Oh yeah.
On a typical night,
this is a lot.
This gives you so much information. That's why some of these generators can do most of the work for you. Okay, the clientele. On a typical night, the clientele of the Raging Cup can be described as extremely loud. On this occasion, there are over a dozen other people currently in the tavern. Some of the patrons are arguing over how to split the bill. Others are engaged in a heated debate, and a couple others are harassing the waitstaff. Sitting at a secluded table, there is a deceptively calm-looking figure. They just like to be left alone to their drink. Gives you an environment. That's actually interesting. Mm-hmm. Let's talk about the accommodations. See, this goes on. The rooms.
There's more.
There's more. The rooms for rent at the Raging Cup are incredibly.
But wait, there's more. How much more is there?
Well, let me tell you. The rooms for rent at the Raging Cup are incredibly large and decidedly and
this is going on so long.
It's okay. They're incredibly large and dingy. That's nice. There is currently one room available for rent. The cost for a night stay is 1 gold piece. If the party spends the night at the tavern, the vampiric owner attempts to charm one of the party members to be their thrall. See how it ties in the owner to this whole thing. And then I have a complete list. Oh my gosh. This must be the excessive menu, food and drink. I have a wine list. I have lagers and ale. You want a Lucky Crocodile hard cider. And let me tell you how much detail this actually goes in. The Lucky Crocodile hard cider, a locally brewed pale cider described as a pleasantly bitter cider with a sweet finish. Gallon price is 4 silver, 9 copper. Pint price is 9 copper. This tells you how much detail this goes in, okay? Then you have your hard liqueurs. A list for that.
This is Gary Gygax's Adventures level of detail.
This is an awesome random generator, and
I don't need to know how much gold that everybody keeps under their bed.
Well, as a starter, do you want your deep fried sweet potato wedges, or your jam-packed red peppers, deep fried chicken strips, or deep fried beef strips? You have a list for soups and salads.
Chicken strips.
And you have your entrees. You have herb-crusted frog. Ooh, herb-crusted frog in a vodka sauce and a bed of quinta with a helping of red peppers. Talking about detail. And then you have a button at the top saying, hit another bar. So it'll automatically random generate another bar for you.
Another one.
Isn't that cool? Let's do that here. Check out the next one. This is called the Tranquil Trident. And same thing. Food, drink, members. Oh, see, this is awesome. And this particular generator, again, is the coppersanctum.github.io. So, very, very nice. See, there's some awesome generators out there. So you can come up with anything.
Oh, yeah.
So,
absolutely.
And that's just ends. Now, if you want to actually take a look at bazaars, that's another place that you can have all the people meet. Say they're going outside and there is a big festival going on and you got a whole bunch of vendors at the bazaar. And they meet at the bazaar. Something happens. One of the vendors gets murdered. The guy selling knives ends up with one in his back. You could do something like that. You meet there. So, next one I got here is you can just have the players meet at an open road. They're traveling.
This one seems less flashy. This seems so,
Right.
This seems so much less than everybody than all the other.
It
But
does.
you could have, another classic start is, all the characters are hired as bodyguards for a caravan or something.
Yeah, exactly. They could do something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Or you could do the stuff that players really don't like. And I put one here. Players have no choice. A portal opens and drags them someplace. And all of a sudden they end up someplace.
Listen, sometimes that works. You have to get your player buy-in, of course. But, like Baldur's Gate, right? Baldur's Gate 3. You start out and everybody against their will has been captured. And so, like, that could work. You need your players' consent for that stuff first. Make sure that they're cool with being railroaded like that.
Yeah,
but
video games is a lot easier to do that than you have players at the
table.
Well,
no, because it gives the characters all who normally would not talk to each other or normally would kill each other. It gives them a reason to work together. It gives them a really effective reason, right? And so that it is very effective and it works. But again, you need your players' buy-in for the lack of agency, the agency that you are taking away from them. That is the important thing that you need the buy-in for. But story-wise, it works really well.
I know. You can have all the players all of a sudden wake up because they were captured and they're in the back of a cart and they're being taken into a town where they're going to have their bad deeds written off, and one of the
Hey, you're finally awake. You also got captured in that Imperial ambush.
It didn't take you long to know what I was talking about. You gotta love Skyrim. That is just classic. That is just
steal from Bethesda games.
Right on.
You start out like
okay, so. Oh, all right. So, yeah, you can do different things like that. And the next thing we have written here is exactly what you talked about just a moment ago. Players having some kind of rep just by whatever they're doing, sought out being hired, being as trail guides, caravan, whatever. So, and actually, I'm going to have to apologize right now. I think at this particular point, we need to take a quick break.
Hi guys, if you want to take a break from role-playing and watch someone burn their face off while eating hot peppers, head on over to YouTube at 13 Peppers and like and subscribe. And if you want to grow these peppers yourself, you can actually purchase these seeds at 13peppersbyralph.com. With that, have a good day.
All right, and we're back. So, okay, kind of a quick exit. I apologize about that, but something came up real quick. But hey,
he zoomed.
That's life.
It was boogers.
It was boogers. Lots of boogers.
Don't let him lie to you. Don't let him lie to you.
Oh, okay. So we were talking about players and being sought out to be hired. And this can be a couple different things because when they start out as being an adventure, you can start them out first level, second level, third level. All depends like that. They could already have their own reputation. And like I said, they can be sought out, be hired like we were talking about, or they can be sought out and be hunted. Like, for example, they might have a bounty on their head for some reason. They might need to find out why. Why is this person wanting me dead? Do I look like somebody different? Is it thinking people or I'm somebody I'm not? It could be a bunch of different things. So yeah, you could use that. Tons of different ideas. Okay. So how would you actually, and the next thing is here is, how would you actually go about determining what location you want to use?
Well, you could talk to your players, see where they want to start, right? Or depending on the setting you want to do, it's all, once you pick the broader setting, it should just click into place.
Yes.
You know? So it should be good, you know?
That is absolutely true, because then that actually determines what your environments are, everything else. If it's going to be sparse, if it's heavily populated, forests, deserts, tundra, frozen wastelands. then that determines on everything. It determines everything else. So yeah, not all tundras are frozen.
Not all frozens are tundras.
Exactly. So you just let it go. Let it go.
You've got yourself.
Let it go.
You got yourself a square circle, a square rectangle situation here.
You know what? That fucking square will fit in that round hole.
What hole does the circle go into? That's right, the square hole. What hole does the arch go into? That's right,
the square hole. I don't know if she was actually getting upset or if that was just a play, but it just is like, wow, that's just funny. I love it. And if you don't know what we're talking about, yeah, too bad. You'll come across it eventually in some kind of feed.
How can you? All right, I'm all about, like everybody has different, but I don't think you can get to watching this show on the internet on a video platform or any platform of your choice. I don't think you can get to this without seeing that. That's one of those like.
Ooh, I could do one better.
I can't even say that because at work we had to introduce somebody to Leroy Jenkins because they hadn't heard about it. They were around your age and they had not heard of Leroy Jenkins.
Well, it depends. If they didn't grow up being a gamer, then yeah, they wouldn't know anything about that.
That's not even a gamer. That transcends. That transcends gamer.
Well, here's the thing. Most people know of Leroy Jenkins, but they don't actually know where it came from.
But no, they didn't know anything about it. They hadn't heard of it.
They hear other people. I've known people where they hear that saying before.
They hadn't heard of it at all. That's the thing. They had no cultural context for Leroy Jenkins, and that was that was crazy because it's that's
right.
That's wild.
Well, you got to see a lot of people of my generation are not actually gamers. You get some, but not as many. Not as many as your generation. My generation.
You know what the average age of a gamer is?
Out of everybody?
Out of everybody.
Yeah.
Yes. It's average age of a gamer.
Is going to tend to be older. But what I'm saying is out of my generation, you have 100 people, random. You might have 30 of them as gamers, either a video game, board game, or something like that. Of random 100 people out of your generation, that will probably skew 60 to 70%. That's what I'm talking about.
That's not how averages work. That's not how averages work. Because then the average would skew to my age. The average is around 36.
Oh my gosh. If you're only asking gamers what age they are, that will give you an average gamer age. What I'm talking about is general population, not just gamers. That makes sense?
Yeah, I'm talking about...
Never mind. Never mind.
You don't know how math works.
I know how math works.
You can't spell, you can't math.
Okay.
If you have a smaller population that are older, and you have a larger population that are younger, your average is not going to be in the middle. It's going to skew younger.
Yes, but are you talking general population, or are you just averaging gamer?
It doesn't matter, because we're talking about the average age of a gamer. That's what we're talking about. Yes, of a gamer. What is the average age? And it skews older.
Yeah. Yes.
It skews late 30s.
When you're just... these arguments are awesome over the recording like this. But if you're just...
Content.
If you're just talking to gamers and asking their age, then that makes perfect sense. But I'm talking about random 100 people off the street, how many of those are gamers? In my generation, it's going to be a less percentage than your generation. There's more gamers in your generation than my generation.
But then the math still...
No, because if you're just talking about gamers...
check out. No, because you're still saying that a vast majority of gamers are younger. That is what you're getting at.
No, it skews older when you're talking with role-playing games. Maybe we need to define what we're talking about. Are we talking about video games, or are we talking about
video games? This is video games, and and extrapolating from people who play video games.
You know what? We're gonna have to actually look that up and discuss that our next video.
All right, I'm gonna do it right now.
Okay. So, as he's looking that up, let's just talk and everything right here. Okay. But the
average age of a video game player is around 35 years. The gamer age statistics worldwide show that the gaming world is changing all the time. The average video game player is shifting upwards. In 2022, it was between 35 and 44.
So kids today are not playing video games?
That's the point is that more older people than you give credit for play video games and play games, extrapolated play games, and are gamers, right? That's what this means. That's what the data shows. The data shows that it's not just kids playing games. It's old fogies like you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay. All right. I love these nice conversations we have. This is awesome. Okay. The sad part is that
we say fogey? Can we say fogey? Is that allowed?
I'm gonna say fogey.
Oh, okay, all right.
Okay, whatever.
Sounds like a Muppet. Sounds like Fozzie's brother. Fogey.
Oh, fogey. You almost spit your drink.
I did.
That's awesome.
Almost did. You're right.
Okay. All right. So, what else do you want to actually go over on this thing for in different places to start?
Where to start? I put in the middle of the action. I've done this before. Your mileage may vary. I have started. I have seen things where you start in the middle of the dungeon, right? And boom, there you go. Doesn't matter why you're there. Doesn't matter what's going on. You can fill in the context later, but all you know right now is that you are in the middle of a dungeon. You are doing this, And I have also started of you are in an airship and it is crashing. That was the start, and that one I ran into trouble with because I had a player, and that was kind of one of the problems I ran into, and what I have learned to do with my games is to I communicate to my players that I now communicate to my players that I want a serious game at the table, but above the table we're joking, right? This is real life for the characters involved, but this is a game to us, so we kayfabe everything that's going on in the game, but everything we can make the dick jokes and make fun of the NPCs and stuff outside above the table. You and me talking about it, but because while this ship was crashing in the middle of all this, you had players who were into it and were like, oh yeah, I'm going to I'm gonna go here, I'm gonna go see what's going on, see if I can get down to the engine, see if I can get to the sails or whatever, get to the different parts, figure it out, episode Star Wars Episode 3 at least land half a ship, But I had one player, and I should have done a better job of not, because I wasn't happy. I wasn't having a good time with this, but he was trying to steal socks from the captain's cabin, he wasn't taking it seriously, and that bothered me. But I didn't say anything, and I allowed it to continue instead of so that was one of the mistakes on my part, is not communicating what I wanted from the players. But if you have everybody who has bought into the scenario and who is willing to take things on in game seriously, starting in the middle of the action can definitely work. And it's all about your players and the communication of your expectations. That's an important part.
Right. So,
but yeah, melee action can work.
See, that has never really worked for me. I've tried that a few times, and I don't know if my setup was just wrong or whatnot. But mostly the pushback that I got after it happened was the players not feeling that they had control. Or at least the illusion of control. And that's kind of where I had the failure at that particular part. But if you got the buy-in from the players, and yeah, that's great. That is awesome. So, all right.
That was actually that was how I pitched. That's how I pitched it. I was like, we'll go from there, and everything can go after this. But the start is you're crashing. And that was my pitch to him. So
okay. So all right, cool. You got any more thoughts on that section or anything?
No.
Okay.
No.
Well, the next.
Oh wait. I was going to say it's in examples in here when we were talking about.
Well, I was trying to say examples. I have the in with tie-in encounters, which I kind of did in the other section when we went through the generators and stuff like that. But what do you have for examples?
I was going to use the tavern I always used to use, which was I would the details weren't the only detail that stayed the same was a young green dragon head that was above that was on the mantle above the fireplace. And the thing about it was fake, and only if the player actually inspected it would they know it was fake. And this is how I would normally start new players on adventures. I would always start with that, and they always went to, because I said that it was the most prominent feature in the inn or tavern, and they always went up to it. They always fucked with it. Always. Every single time. Without fail. And so that would create, issues with the barkeep. That would, it was just a built-in trouble starter. It was great.
No, that's cool. Yeah, you told me about that green dragon head a few times, which are very, very cool. So, okay. Well, the last section that we really have here is just section prep. How to actually prep for stuff. So, and a couple of these we've kind of covered together, but the first one is just making quick notes.
How long have we been going? I think that session prep could be an episode on its own.
It could be. Depends on how you want to actually do that.
How long have we been recording?
I don't know. We were recording for quite a while before we started, so.
Well, what's the time right now? What's the time
I
right now?
guess maybe 45 minutes or so, give or take.
Oof.
You want to do session prep for next time?
Crossroad. We are at a crossroads. Session prep for next time sounds good. Yeah.
Okay, that'll work. Okay. Hey, we just left a cliffhanger. Ooh, session prep cliffhanger. Okay. That's good because I agree with you. I mean, we can make a whole session out of session prep and a couple things that I like, a couple things I listen to, podcasts specifically, and what I get out of them and how I do things. So I think we've kind of touched bases on it on a few times, but yeah, I think that'll work since we talked about where you can get ideas. Now, once you take those ideas, what can you do with a session prep? So cool. Okay. Cool. You got anything else you want to talk about on this conversation? About where to start?
Look at the tree of links and check that out.
Yes.
See all the social medias I don't post on. You can see Dad kill himself by eating the hottest peppers known to man.
That's not linked on there, is it?
Is it?
I thought just the nerd stuff. Okay, maybe not. Go check his out. Go check 13 Peppers by Ralph, though. Yeah, let me go through here.
To see him kill himself with the hottest peppers. No, man.
Yes. Thank you. Yeah, because I have a whole other YouTube channel I run, which is called 13 Peppers. I eat spicy.
You're cheating on YouTube channels?
Peppers. Oh, no, not cheating. I'm having multiple channels with benefits.
It's polychannelness.
But yeah, if you like spicy peppers, seeing people eat spicy peppers, burning the hell out of themselves, that's a channel there. Besides just regular fresh peppers out of the garden, because I grow them all myself. Sauces I've actually eaten with my son here, which on the videos too. So go check that out. Same thing he was saying is in our notes is our link tree. It has our email address, social media addresses, everything like that. This is a newer podcast. We need to do a little bit better on posting different social things that we're doing, sharing our thoughts and ideas.
At me.
Well, I can do some of it too, but especially contact us there with the email where you can actually go there and follow us, because we would love to hear your thoughts. Anything that you'd like to hear us talk about. If you have any questions or thoughts or ways that we might be able to help you, we would love to give you ideas and different things, kind of share stuff on the
Please give
podcast.
Us content.
But we could do things like that. But with that, I guess that is about it. So, you got anything else that you want to pimp?
Nope.
Nope. Okay.
I am an enigma, a mystery, if you will.
I will.
Oh, okay.
Okay. Well, I guess. Yeah, and I guess that is going to be it. With that, I want to thank everybody for watching the podcast or listening to the podcast, depending on how you can consume it here. But with that, my name is Ralph. I am Nerd.
This podcast is made possible by viewers like you.
I like that. We gotta use it. That is awesome. So, okay.
All right. I'm Son. I'm Connor. Bye.
As you can tell, these are scripted out. So, with that, you guys all have a very good day. Thank you very much.
Bye.